Okay.
order.
Awesome.
We'll bring the rest of the group in shortly.
Sounds good.
We did a study. Okay.
Are we good? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy that everyone's here. Thank you for being here. It is always great to be in Philadelphia. Philly is the heart of this part of the Commonwealth, and my office, along with all the partners you see here, are committed to maintaining Philadelphia's health, strength, and prosperity. When Philadelphia thrives, the surrounding counties and the entire Commonwealth thrive as well. I've always said that if communities aren't safe, nothing else matters. And with that in mind, it is not a secret that every region of Pennsylvania has been impacted by addiction. As a prosecutor, I've seen suffering, and I can say without question that some of the most painful conversations that I've ever had have been with parents and grandparents who have had to slowly watch a loved one slip away into the web of addiction, which we now see manifesting itself primarily in fentanyl. I think we are all aware of fentanyl's emergence as a deadly opioid, becoming the product of choice for predatory dealers, and unfortunately the drug of choice for so many people struggling with addiction. And we're here today to talk about how we, as a team, are working together to save lives and get illegal fentanyl off of our streets. We are here today to talk about the great progress being made in stopping the flow of deadly fentanyl into Pennsylvania communities, specifically here in the Philadelphia region. I am honored today to be joined by the Philadelphia Police Commissioner, Kevin Bethel, and so many other leaders throughout the Southeast and from our federal agencies, and you'll hear from some of them today shortly. Today we have with us Chief Deputy Mayors of Philadelphia, Harris and Harley. We have Philadelphia Office of Public Safety here today. We have the Delaware County District Attorney Jack Stolzheimer. We have Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin Steele. We have representatives from the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, Liberty Mid-Atlantic HIDA, the Pennsylvania State Police, Abington Township Police Department, the Ben Salem Police Department, Upper Darby Police Department, Nether Providence Police Department, and Fallcroft Borough Police Department, as well as many members of the Attorney General's office that are here as well. And I just want to say, with regard to the Chief of Public Safety, it's Director Adam Gear who's with us. With that being said, collaboration is the absolute key to victory. And as you just saw last week, the results of collaboration when we joined the FBI in announcing a federal indictment that took down a violent Kensington-based drug trafficking organization. And we are here today again, united in a common mission to stop the flow of fentanyl and to hold accountable the predatory traffickers that are profiting from this death and destruction. As I said, fentanyl has replaced heroin as the opioid most commonly found in the Commonwealth, and it's not even close. The numbers are absolutely staggering. With each passing year, fentanyl continues to be pervasive in opioid seizures. And in 2025, we have reached a high watermark with regard to the work we've done. And this is not a milestone or an achievement to celebrate, but a significant accomplishment to be sure. The Office of Attorney General, along with the outstanding collaboration of police partners all throughout Pennsylvania, and in particular here in the Southeast, have seized over 50 million doses of fentanyl in Pennsylvania so far in 2025. That's right, 50 million. And any one of those 50 million doses could have killed someone. This is not me saying that to be dramatic for purposes of this press conference. It is an absolute reality. And everyone up here has seen it, and it is absolutely horrible. Nearly 27 million of those doses have been seized in the greater Philadelphia area. More than half of the fentanyl seized in Pennsylvania has been seized in this region. And when we talk about a dose, what does that actually mean? So this little packet right here weighs 2 milligrams, okay? And this is literally the size of a potential lethal dose of fentanyl. And you can see how small it is. This is all it takes to end a life, to end the hopes and dreams of a human being, to absolutely devastate a family and circle of friends, causing lifelong pain and suffering. As the poster board here illustrates, we have seized more than 100,000 grams. That's more than 220 pounds of fentanyl through September of this year. That puts us at over 50 million doses and counting. Again, nearly 27 million of those doses were here in the greater Philadelphia area. And to clarify, when law enforcement makes seizures of fentanyl, it doesn't always look like this little packet right here. Sometimes it's packaged for street sales like this, and other times it's in bulk form prior to being cut and packaged for distribution. And those doses don't always include just powder. Oftentimes it includes fentanyl pills that we find regularly during the course of investigations. These pills are often disguised to look as any other common prescription pill like oxycodone. And this year alone, in addition to what we've already shared, collectively we have seized more than 76,000 fentanyl pills so far this year. And they can have the same deadly effect. So how did we seize 50 million doses? It was through tremendously hard and oftentimes very, very dangerous work. And just as important, it was through working as a team. None of these cases, or any of the hundreds of other investigations from our office, could ever happen without the collaboration and teamwork between agencies. Once fentanyl reaches the Commonwealth, it doesn't just stay where it lands. It knows no borders, and it's trafficked from city to city, county to county, and town to town, all throughout Pennsylvania. And this is where these collaborative partnerships are so unbelievably important, where we have district attorneys like Jack Stolzheimer, Kevin Steele, and Jen Shorn, who couldn't make it today, where they step up and we work collaboratively to attack it from all different aspects. Adding to the death and destruction caused by addiction is the habit traffickers have, unfortunately, of carrying and using firearms to protect their trade. In so many of these significant takedowns, the arrests of multiple people, and large seizures of fentanyl, we find firearms. Every one of those firearms presents a threat, a potential threat to public safety. We take those cases very seriously because when we do not address violent crime head on, it festers, it grows, and it impacts an entire region. In May, for example, we collaborated collectively here to seize more than 41 pounds of fentanyl in North Philadelphia. And I'm additionally grateful for the work and the hard work and support of the Philadelphia Police Department with that case. More than $6 million worth of fentanyl, that's over 400,000 doses. And from that seizure, we were able to determine that 200,000 of those doses were headed across the state to Pittsburgh. I say that solely to remind people that we are all in this together and everything is connected. I often refer to the criminal justice ecosystem, I hate to say that, or the criminal network ecosystem. And it is a pure reality. I mean, people come here to buy drugs from other places. People will go to other places to buy drugs. And so we can never view it through the lens of one place. We have to attack it holistically together. And we can't talk about addiction enough. And I just want to take a moment, when we talk about these issues, and you're going to hear from other people today, if people are thinking, God, we talk about this a lot, it is so important because if we can stop one person from thinking twice about using fentanyl, it's worth it. If it causes or helps or motivates someone to help a loved one to get into treatment, it is absolutely worth it. You know, I always say that when I was a kid, if you made a mistake, you might not feel well for a day. And the reality is in today's world, and this is not an exaggeration, I know everyone up here will tell you that one mistake could equal death for a child. And that's very, very real, and it's worth it to continue this unbelievable fight. And I also want to say, if there's anyone watching this today that's in the throes of addiction, that's suffering and thinking, God, can I ever get out of this? I will tell you that throughout my career and in my personal life, I have seen people get treatment, I've seen them enter recovery, and I've seen them go on to live successful, fulfilling, amazing lives. Recovery is a reality. If you're watching this, know that there is hope, and you can go into long-term recovery. I've seen it, and it is a real thing. Looking forward as Attorney General, you have my word that I will never relent in this fight, and I will work with every single person that wants to work with us to achieve this goal. Our children, our families, our communities are worth it. And although this conversation today focuses on what we are doing as a team with regard to the supply side, at least from my portion of this, I want to make it absolutely crystal clear that we are also doing what we can to address the demand. And more than ever, police and prosecutors all throughout Pennsylvania are creating initiatives geared toward helping people get treatment for substance abuse. I call it accountability and redemption. We hold people accountable, but at the same time, we work as hard as we can to help people after they've been held accountable. A priority in my office is identifying and implementing initiatives geared towards increasing accessibility to mental health treatment for people that have touched the criminal justice system, and also working to decrease barriers to reentry for those returning home from prison, using every single tool in the toolbox. Because when our communities aren't safe, absolutely nothing else matters. And I know that all of our partners here today feel the same way. And to all of those officers and prosecutors that aren't standing up here today, that are doing the hard work that is unbelievably dangerous, that we've unfortunately seen too often what can happen, I want them to know that they have our support, our respect, and our admiration. And I thank every single one of them for the sacrifices that they make every day to help keep their community safe. And with that being said, if there's really no other takeaway from my portion of this, I want it to make it very clear that these are human issues and that all of us are working together as a team to keep our community safe, to work together, and 50 million doses of fentanyl is only a start. So with that being said, I would now like to call up Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel.
Well, I thank you for that, and I just really want to say, Attorney General Son, just say thank you. Leadership matters, and I think sometimes folks miss that. Leadership absolutely matters in this work, and I'm so grateful for you bringing us here today. I do want to recognize my team here. Unfortunately, Mayor could not be here, but with our deputy mayors here, Vanessa Harley and Cecilia Harris, and my road dog over here, Adam Gear, because I'm part of the work that Mayor established. That this is not something just to address by myself, right? This is part of a partnership, but that starts with leadership of the mayor to bring us here today. And what you heard is not just about the collaboration, but it's also about putting it into practice. I tell people collaboration is a verb. Sometimes I used to fight with my team. I say, you do know collaboration is a verb. Like, it's not like this thing that just sits there. You have to make it do something. You have to make it work. And that's what this truly is as I go through this work and we talk about that. Getting 50 million doses of fentanyl seized in a single year with the work of our local and state and federal partners. And part of that is sharing information. I had the honor of standing with my colleague, Wayne Jacobs from the FBI last week and other members of the team here from the state and others talking about what we did last week. And man, we feel like, I keep telling people we got the wind at our back. Sometimes I feel like we got more than a wind at our back when I know that I stand behind me with my colleagues from my counties and others, knowing that they're here to support me as we put the pressure on the supply train across the state. Because we know we're the epicenter of it all. But we can't do this work in isolation. And so when I stand here behind you, ladies and gentlemen, I know all these people behind me. I've been at this for 39 years. in returning to this police department. This is the best coordination and collaboration I've seen in a long, long time. And I just want to say to you all behind me and standing with me how much I'm grateful. I don't win this by myself, and my team doesn't win this by myself. Jack, you know that, and we so appreciate that. I want to especially thank Mayor Parker. I know she's not here today, but oftentimes people say one Philly. And she makes us stand in the room and put our fingers up, one Philly. People are like, what is that? I used to ask that question. Like, what is that? But then I sat there and I started to feel pride. Like, matter of fact, after a while, we said, Mayor, we're not doing one Philly. Like, we're not putting up our fingers. But it was all about aligning prevention, intervention, and enforcement. She said that since the beginning, that it was not a slogan. Like, it was us working together. You know, it's a government, you know, our governing posture. It allows us to know that law enforcement is working together with the rest of the system and moving and rowing together as one system, as you hear that constantly talked about. So when the mayor talks about rebuilding a city that is strong and safe and free of open-air drugs, she backs that with the talk with action, you know, with resources, and a relentless expectation of all of us in this room to get it done. You know, the mayor constantly says the status quo is not acceptable. And this is an absolute indication that the status quo amongst none of us are acceptable, and we continue to push forward. But we also have to be clear about fentanyl. This is not a neighborhood problem, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's not a Kensington problem, even though we were attacking Kensington last week. Or is it a city problem? This is a Commonwealth problem. It's an American problem. You know, it does not care, fentanyl does not care about the borders. It doesn't care about what zip code you come from. It doesn't care what politics you're involved in. You know, it is ending lives, and we're seeing that on a daily basis. It is absolutely destroying families, and we know that's happening on a daily basis. It is destabilizing blocks, and part of the work that we did with our team last week is trying to stabilize the blocks, not destabilize the blocks of what's happening. It is our job to choke off the supply lines. It's our job to stand up for those people who cannot stand up for themselves. And recovery, as indicated by the Attorney General, is also part of that equation. We have to do that if we're going to do that. And for those of you, he mentioned, for those of you who have a personal interest in when you've lost someone in your life to addiction, it becomes personal for many of us. You know, we don't tell those stories in the place, but a lot of that drives myself, who lost someone to addiction, not to this addiction and not to fentanyl or heroin, but it all is relatable when we make sure we go about doing this work. So to the Attorney General's team, to my FBI colleagues, to all those involved, and particularly the district attorneys here today, to my suburban colleagues, I've been traveling on the road lately. I've been in Delaware County, Montgomery County, you know what I mean, getting them back on board and letting them know how much we appreciate their partnership, and that's important. I say thank you. Thank you for your work. And to the men and women of the Philadelphia Police Department who do this work each and every day, I'm just so proud of the work you're putting in to make our city safe and make the charge of the mayor come to reality. And so those who continue to traffic in this drug, you know, I think it's been stated very clearly here and stated just last week, you know, the pressure is going to continue to increase. We will not stop. You know, as the Attorney General said, I think that your time will come, you know, and we are going to work collaboratively to do that. So finally, I just want to again, you know, thank all of those men and women on the ground, thank all of the folks behind me, the team that I share with here today, because they are constantly supporting us. But I said this on Friday, and I'll say it again. We do not apologize for this work. We will not apologize for going after individuals who put this poison in our streets, who are killing our community. That is the work of law enforcement. That is the work of all of those behind me to get that done, and we will continue to do that in this work. So thank you for the opportunity, Attorney General Sunday, for being here and speak on behalf of myself and the mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner. I next would like to call up Philadelphia Chief Public Safety Director Adam Gear.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again, AG Sunday, for bringing us here together. And the Commissioner hinted at this. We do This is the work that we do every day. I just left Kensington, where my team was there after we were running wellness court today. My leaders were there, and they were sitting down to have lunch. This is the work, and we're there as a group, Office of Public Safety, to come here after that and to remind myself of all the partners we have across the Commonwealth who are doing this work as well every day, wherever they're at, in their communities, behind their desks. That has an effect here. It really charges me up. So I thank you, AG Sunday, for being here. I know the mayor truly believes in this intergovernmental work. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and just say, intergovernmental cooperation. You know, it is something that she preaches, and it's just not preaching. We put it into action. We partner with anyone and everyone who is going to be with us, behind us, rowing in the same direction in this crisis that we have, that we are getting a handle on, right? Thanks to the tremendous work of our police commissioner, the AG, the U.S. attorney, from all of these folks, the mayor, we are making progress. There's work to do. There's no question about that there's work to do, and we have the resolve. We only have the one option, which is move forward. There will be moments where we take a step back, or it seems like that, and we're going to keep marching right along. There's a gentleman named Mr. Al who I get emails from. I hope he's okay with me using his name, up in the Kensington community. I have to get back to him on a few things, some updates, right? But he'll email me periodically, and this is going to be the call that I make to him as soon as I leave here, is to say, Mr. Allett, I'm getting the email today, right? We're having the conversation, but let me tell you about some partners who I just left and some of the work that they're doing and how that impacts your community. And to remind him that while he's there living with some of our most vibrant folks up in Kensington, right, such an amazing community, that there are folks who are thinking about them and their issues and working that they don't have contact with every day, and to remind them of that. So it is critically important that we remind ourselves. It's critically important that we remind each other that we are in this together, as the Attorney General said. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll reiterate what the Attorney General said, and this is the reality. Every single one of those 50 million doses that was intercepted is a potential death sentence that was intercepted. Every single one of the 50 million. I've recently lost someone in my life, not to this, but that is every life matters. And if we can save just the one life, and in this case, I'm sure that there were more, then we are doing good work. So I appreciate the cooperation, the collaboration. I appreciate the invitation to be here. Look forward to continuing to do this work for our folks here in the Commonwealth.
When I do this work across the Commonwealth, it is impossible to do it effectively without partnerships with my colleagues and district attorneys across Pennsylvania, and two of the absolute best are here today. And so the next person I'd like to call up here is Delaware County District Attorney Jack Stolzheimer to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad somebody thanked you. Abington clapped. There we go. Yeah.
5-8 and under club.
And before we start, I just want to point out that Tim Bernhardt and David Splain. David is the chief of Nether Providence Police, and Tim is the superintendent of the Upper Darby Police. They are the best and the brightest law enforcement officers I've ever met, and they are here to support the collaboration that we're continuing to talk about today. Attorney General, I want to thank you so much for all the work you've been doing. You guys have heard a lot about fentanyl already. The fentanyl crisis in this country is literally the worst narcotics epidemic this country has ever faced. So upwards of 70,000 people die every single year because of fentanyl, and as you've heard, one single dose is enough to kill you. This is such a powerful narcotic, it cannot be in the streets anymore. So law enforcement working together, collaborating, because collaboration is what drives good government work, is so important. And I just want to thank David for all of the collaboration he has given us already as Attorney General. Kevin and I run the narcotics task forces in our counties under the authority of the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. And David, I am happy to have you come out to Delaware County. I want to show you, we run the best law enforcement treatment initiative program in Pennsylvania, because as you said, this is a holistic fight. We have to take the supply off, but we also have to work on the demand. We have to make sure that everybody who is suffering from an addiction has a chance to get into recovery. I had lost a brother 5 years ago who died at the age of 50 from drug overdose because he could never find his way to recovery. That loss sits with me every single day. But there are other people who can take that step, but we've got to get this stuff off the street. And I just want to say, David, I'm soon going to write you a letter on behalf of a person who is seeking a pardon. Your role as Pennsylvania Pardons Authority. There is somebody who wrote to me that he grew up in the city of Chester, and in the 1990s, when he came of age, he started selling drugs in the street because he saw the drug dealers in the city as the most powerful people, and the word he used was they had all the glory in that community. There is no glory anymore in selling poison. So we want to get that message out. We are coming for you if you're selling this. You've got to stop. You've got to stop killing people in your own neighborhoods. There's a better way, and we will help you find it. And I just want to say on the point of collaboration before I'll turn this over to Kevin, Commissioner Bethel, you said it right. You've been spending so much time talking to the Delaware County chiefs and being in Delaware County. We think you're starting to get that fabled Delaware County accent going. You're almost one of us now. And when I became district attorney, the two people I really looked up to were Kevin Steele and David Sunday. David is the former district attorney of York County. And I saw from them how they were trying to do two things at once. Amazing in government that we can do two things at once, right? We can take off the people who are committing violent acts, and at the same time, we try to get people the help they need to find their way to redemption. So I'm very proud to be part of this team, all of you. And if I can just use the mayor's quote for one time, you know, she does say Philadelphia is one city. Under her leadership, the commissioner, yours, David, and everybody here, we're one region when it comes to public safety, and everybody needs to hear that message. Thank you, David, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jack. Fantastic. Next up is Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin Steele.
All right. So we use the term a lot, one team. And when we talk about that, we're talking about law enforcement. And we have the head of our Chiefs Association, Pat Malloy, here, representing local. We have county, you know, Jack and I and others doing the work in our respective counties. The state and Dave doing an incredible job with that, and our federal partners. Wayne was already mentioned briefly, our FBI partner, and Brian Michaels, who heads our high-intensity drug trafficking area, who brings everyone together under one umbrella to do this work. And I am so grateful to be a part of it. When we talk about fentanyl and the accomplishment of taking that many doses off, that's real. That's lives saved. And in Montgomery County, last year we went down 27% in terms of the number of deaths. And that's not something to do a victory lap on, because there's still a lot of people that are dying. And we have to keep our foot on the gas with this and with these partnerships. And I've been so honored to work with these individuals and work in these partnerships on a local, county, state, and federal level. And I was very appreciative a couple years ago when our commissioner sent his daughter to me as an intern, you know, on things. But I say that in that the partnerships are real, and we are working together every day. The Collard counties, represented by Jack and me and Jen Shorn in Bucks County, are working hand in hand with Philadelphia Police Department on a daily basis, working with everybody in the Attorney General's office and all the great work that they're doing. And it's real, and this collaboration is real, and it wouldn't have reach the milestone that we reached and that we're here to talk about with those 50 million doses without it being one team and all of us working together. So this work is going to continue. You're going to keep hearing from us because there's great things that are being done and great things on the horizon, and we're going to keep our foot on the pedal. And I thank all of you for being here today.
Kevin, thank you. And closing us out today will be Abington Township Police Chief Pat Malloy.
Thank you. So I'm going to give you a little local suburban police chief perspective, and I want to thank Kevin Steele for his passion and leadership. But on behalf of my colleagues with me today and suburban chiefs throughout the Philadelphia region, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the Attorney General, Dave Sunday, for his leadership and his leadership team for coordinating the necessary personnel, technical support, and other resources to dismantle many drug trafficking organizations. There is no doubt that this coordinated effort will continue to save lives by reducing the number of overdose deaths in our respected communities. Law enforcement and public safety cannot be successful without that level of teamwork that you see before you this afternoon. I would also like to thank Commissioner Bethel and his leadership team for making the reduction of violent crime and drug trafficking a major priority in his time that he's come back to Philadelphia. Also, the mayor targeting Kensington area, not only to lock up these individuals peddling poison, but to improve the quality of life for so many people in that community who endured that quality of life for way too long. We as chiefs in suburban communities have benefited from the leadership in Philadelphia, the FBI, and all the great work that's done. We've seen and reaped the benefits in our respective communities. Many of us here today are chiefs of agencies where you could be described as we're too big to be small and too small to be big. But with that comes the reliance on Philadelphia, the FBI, ATF, HSI, and our partners in the Attorney General's office. We couldn't do it without their support. I can tell you one of the first things that Commissioner Bethel did, and I know with Bill McVeigh and others, after being sworn in, was to meet with many of my fellow chiefs in Montgomery County, Bucks, Delaware, all of the border suburban communities to see how we can better collaborate on fighting crime, because after all, we are crime fighters and peacekeepers. And this spirit of collaboration, the verb collaboration, and willingness to work together has resulted in reduced crime in many of our communities, but most importantly, the reduction of violent crime and fentanyl overdose deaths. All of us up here either know a friend or a family member who had been impacted by the powerful and addictive nature of opioids and fentanyl. We also know that we cannot arrest our way out of this crisis. However, by aggressively prosecuting these bad guys and providing resources for people to get help, there's no doubt that we will continue to keep our foot on the gas and continue to save lives in our communities. And finally, none of this would be possible without the talented, and Commissioner Bethel mentioned this earlier, and courageous uniformed police officers who are out there making car stops, and special investigators, stopping bad guys with guns under the seat. And these are the ones who are out there peddling this poison. They investigate and prosecute these dangerous criminals. So along with all of the large quantities of drugs, we're getting a lot of guns off the street, dozens and dozens of guns, and I think that was just last week that happened. So I'll just end with, I'm incredibly proud of all the work that's being done by our partners up here, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of this very noble profession as crime fighters and peacekeepers. So I want to thank you, Attorney General, for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Chief. And in closing, I want to again thank all of our partners up here. I want to thank the new U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District, David Metcalf. They've been an outstanding partner for us, along with our friends in the FBI, Wayne Jacobs. Thank you so much for all of your support in everything we do. And I want to lastly and importantly, most importantly, say thank you to Mayor Parker. After I was elected Attorney General, obviously Pennsylvania's a big state, and it's a little bigger than York County. And so it is. And so I called the mayor. It was one of my very first phone calls. And I said, "Hi, I'm Dave Sunday. I'm the new Attorney General." And she said, "Hello, I'm Mayor Parker. I'd love to work together. Let's do it." And that's it. And off we went. And so that's sometimes a little bit of kindness and openness to work with people that you may not have worked with before can go a long, long way. And I know that this partnership is changing not just our lives professionally, but it's really impacting the citizens of the Southeast region and all throughout the Commonwealth. So thank you, everyone, for covering this today, and thank you, everyone, for being here and for being partners. So that's it. So thank you. And I'm sure no one has any questions, so everybody have a wonderful day. Go Sixers. So, yes, go ahead.
Regarding what you're seeing now, in terms of the pace of this material arriving in this region, what are you seeing in terms of the pace of these drugs arriving in this region? Is it something where you're seizing doses and then it's cropping right back up again, or have you seen any kind of slowdown in what arrives here?
Well, I will do a very first part answer to that, and I'm actually going to turn around and ask the commissioner if you want to talk about that specifically, if anyone does locally. But what I will say is the 50 million doses represent the amount of fentanyl seized through the beginning of September of this year. And to take that into perspective, last year, for the entire year in Pennsylvania, it was 50 million doses total. And so we hit that number by September, when typically that would have been the entirety of the year. And so all I can say very simply is it is nonstop. Fentanyl is very easy to traffic and transport. You see how small this is right here. And unfortunately, when you have a demand, that's why we talk about the demand side so much, not only because it's the right thing to do as humans, but we have to attack both. When that's there, the bad guys will do everything they can to find a way to get the drugs here. And so what I can say is it's still going on as it always has been. And with regard to what we're seeing locally, I don't know, Commissioner, if you want to talk about that?
I mean, we see it. I mean, obviously, we talk about 50 million doses, but we've almost seized almost 50-something million dollars worth of fentanyl this year so far. So for somebody who spent a long time in narcotics, much different than the heroin trade. Your heroin's built poppy somniferum. There's a lot of processing you have to do with heroin. When fentanyl now moves into the market where it's just a powder, I can take an envelope. If you read the indictment from the federal indictment of the team, you'll see some of that was just moving from putting it in the mail and just mailing it from California to the city of Philadelphia. So you're now looking at so many routes that this product can move. Heroin spoils, right? This powder does not. It can be mixed with different things. That's why you're seeing this different level of adulterants, xylazine and methamphetamine and other things now being added with veterinary products being added to them, because it's just so easy to move. And as long as you have, the chemicals to be able to build it, and as you saw, coming out of China and then going into Mexico, that's why it was so easy to turn it into, take the heroin away and move fentanyl into its place. So easy to make, so easy to move, so many ways to move it. And as you saw, I mean, just the level of when you look at those size, you're talking about, what, 2 milligrams. I mean, it's so easy to move. So it is one of our greatest challenges in this work is stopping that. And that's why it's got to be a collective work going after the precursors that be able to make up the product. But it is probably one of the greatest challenges we've seen in my lifetime as it relates to fentanyl, what it can do and how it's being used and how it's being moved through. I mean, it's because of its size and how you just need such a little amount, and there's a massive amount of adulterant. And so that's kind of turning things around. So it is something that we're challenged with, and we continue to see the drugs, but we just continue to fight the fight. I mean, we were in this crack epidemic, if you remember, and I was a part of that work. And we ultimately, even though we still see crack, but we ultimately, when we all leaned into the work and really were focused on the work, we were able to make a dent in that. And I'm confident that if we continue the strategy we have collectively together, we will win this. We are not failures, right? As my colleague said here, we're servants, we're peacekeepers, and we're going to keep fighting the fight.
Does it seem to be coming in at the same pace?
It's coming in at a significant pace. I mean, at a pace where folks who are normally not even drug dealers, but it's so easy to acquire, can easily set up shop I mean, you can, you don't have to be a big drug organization and wait for Mr. Supplier. It's so easy to get this product. It makes it very difficult for us at multiple levels.
Commissioner.
Oh, this ain't my press conference. Be careful. Whoa. He's a big hefe, brother. I'm not, no. Hey.
Please give me another question I can pass to the commissioner.
For the commissioner, today about 11:27 a.m. I was in the corner of Allegheny and Weymouth where this raid happened on Friday the 24th. I saw, and there was police activity still. I saw a police officer, about 5 police officers in that corner. We were doing something there, filming, and I saw personally a guy dealing with another guy selling drugs right in that corner, about 10 feet from this police officer. My point is, these people are not afraid. And when you say we're going to keep fighting, we're going to not stop, does that mean, are you guys going to keep targeting the Kensington area with the rates of the size that we saw on Friday the 24th?
I mean, the short answer is yes. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going to continue to do. And I want to it's not just Kensington. I want to make that clear. It's everywhere. It's all throughout Pennsylvania. It's throughout Southeast Pennsylvania. Wherever we can be the most effective to disrupt the supply of fentanyl, that's where we're going to be. So thank you for the question. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for
I have one question, sorry. How much is a dose of fentanyl? Do you guys know, like, what does it go for on the streets? Only because you talked about the millions of dollars, so I'm just curious how that breaks down.
It's about $10.
Okay. Somewhere in there.
And it's a lot cheaper than.
And then my only second question is gonna be does this include last week's announcement involving, you said
No.
through September, because it's through September.
No. Wait, does that include last week's? No, it doesn't, right? No, that does not. No.
That's all.
No.
For clarification.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I apologize. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, you talked a little about this North Philly one in May.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about this September 2.7 million doses Northeast Philadelphia?
Let me see here. 2.7 million doses. Yeah, we can follow up afterwards. I appreciate that. All right, awesome. Thank you, everyone, for covering this. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.